The only thing I have to say is when Jeff was about 11 or 12 years old and we was in church and he was up, about middle ways of abuse, and he started acting up with a couple other boys. And I just sat there a few minutes and they was giggling and carrying on. I just politely got up, went over, sat down right between both of them. I didn't have to say that. He knew he was in for it.
That's okay.
I want to congratulate Rob. I only met Rob and talked to him 2 or 3 times, but I didn't know anyone knew my son as well as he did. And when I come in the back here, Pat Carrington said, you all come over here, sit down, and said, if it wasn't for you, we would be celebrating this night. That made me feel very good. I don't know if he guessed about what we might be going to happen tonight, but I come to church tonight, first time I've been on a Saturday night. I need to go every time I can. And Saturday night was good, Robert. That was a good sermon. But one thing concerns me, you said not to boast. And I don't have to leave you out. Don't go bragging. But I would like to say that one thing I remember as Jeff was growing up, he was kind of a young gentleman around the house most of the time. And one time I found out that at school, when he was in high school, he milked rattlesnakes. And that kind of concerned me. I mean, I don't even like to look at any color of snake, let alone a rattlesnake. But I remember one time when he was about 10, I guess, not the same age she said. We were coming home from church, I think, on a Wednesday night, and we stopped fairly close to our home. There was a Winn-Dixie store. And I handed Jeff a quarter. I said, Jeff, go in and get a loaf of bread. He went in, he was gone a few minutes, he come back out and said, Dad, I can't get it. I said, why? He said, it's $2.49. I said, well, go back in and give it a quarter. I'm sure she'll take it. And he finally did. And I begin to think it's kind of hereditary because I took my wife to the store today. And believe this or not, I stopped, parked, my little dog and I were sitting in my little truck. We were sitting there waiting on her to come back out. About an hour later, she went in and get a loaf of bread and some lunch meat. Never did see the lunch meat. She did finally bring me out some bread, so her and Jeff have trouble with a loaf of bread. Don't send them out.
Okay, now I understand that Jeff's sister is here to share with us. Come on out.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, there's one story that I remember real well that nobody else in the family remembers. We were real young and we were up in Ashland, Kentucky. And my cousins and I and Jeff were out playing and we were standing up in this wagon. And my cousins thought they would be funny and they pulled on the wagon and Jeff fell down and he hit the back of his head on the stairs. So I picked him up because he was, I'm older than he is, unfortunately, but I don't look it though. You noticed here.
This week.
So anyway, I picked him up and I had a whole handful of blood and I thought, oh no, I've killed my own brother. I go running up, yelling for my mom, Mom, I've killed him. She comes running out, who'd you kill? I says, I killed Jeff. And they brought him in, washed him up, and he had this little cut on the back of his head, but everybody else don't remember that story but me.
Okay, I'm the other person, I'm not even supposed to tell you. Let me hand a mic. Where's Jane?
One in the back.
Oh.
God.
This is the Jeff party, right? I don't remember him looking like this. He had gray hair and he got a whole throne suit. You guys sit back down. We'll explain this in a little bit. My name's Ralph Ford. Jeff and I went to school together. I didn't know him that well because he was a different type of student than a lot of the others in school. But he went to work for Winn-Dixie, part-time. And his first day there was a very interesting day for him. He rode a bicycle to work, and all excited about his first day of work. And he's getting ready to go home. He looked over the whole store and couldn't find his bicycle. One problem he always has had, he never look up. So finally, we pointed out to him where his bicycle was, and they wired it up to the top of the roof. He had to climb a ladder to get it down, and it was quite an interesting experience for his first day. And I said, anybody who can put that, I ought to get to know a little better. We became real close friends as we went through the rest of that year in high school. We did almost everything together. I was his best man at his wedding. We had probably the best times, or at least I had the best time of my life while I was with Jeff. And he also kept me out of a lot of trouble because everything else that you may think of him, it was always good. Wait a while. Jeff and I used to go fishing a lot. Sometimes we'd go out in a boat. His cousin had a boat. We'd hook it up to my car and we'd go out fishing. Never caught anything. Went out fishing though. There was also manatees out where we lived. And there was an old story of a big trout that was out on the bridge. It was a railroad bridge. But Jeff always played with the manatees. He didn't worry about fishing. And he's sitting there playing with the manatees while it's rolling up in my line, and I had that trout on one line. I almost threw him overboard because he was more worried about the manatee than he was the fish. More interesting stories. Every Friday and Saturday night, we were in the town that we lived in at the time. It's grown immensely now. There was nothing as a town. And we used to go about 20 to 25 miles on a Friday or Saturday night, go to Merritt Island because they had a thing called a 6 movie theaters in a mall. Well, number one, we didn't know what a mall was where we lived. And then number two, 6 movie theaters at one time. The most we had was one, and you were lucky if you could get in. Plus, Jeff always said that's where the best looking women were, so he always wanted to go. So we always went to the mall, and we normally played video games. I don't know if he still plays video games or not. Yeah. We used to play a game called baseball. He could never hit the ball, but we normally had a good time on the Friday or Saturday night. We had wild times. Jeff, for his grad night experience, that was probably one of the best nights. There was a girl that he really liked. Sorry, I haven't seen Patty. Sorry, maybe this is a good time to get that story. I mean, he was so excited when he asked her out to grad night, and she said, yes, I'll go. Well, Jeff, in his infinite wisdom, and I don't know if he's changed or not, but he normally speaks before he thinks. The next day on the bus, when they were talking, and he was saying, well, we ought to do this or that, and he goes, you're dull. And she kind of looked at him, she says, well, if I'm dull, then you can go find somebody else to go to grad night with. So at that point, Jeff was devastated and talked about how lousy the grad night was. But again, it was his speaking. We also had an incident when we were in Winn-Dixie. We had a lot of incidences between whipped cream fights and everything else. But he had another young lady there that he had a big crush on, one of the cashiers. And she said hi to him and kind of gave him a big smile. And he was riding his bicycle, getting ready to go home. Right into a pole. I don't know if he's changed or not, or if he's still the same way. He normally did a lot of things like that, though, particularly if a girl smiled or winked at him or something. He'd run into something. Never failed. Now, when I came up, he asked me to be his best man, and it was in West Virginia. And I flew up there with his parents because his father is like a second father to me. I feel ashamed because I haven't seen his dad as close as we live in a long time. But I went up there with his parents in West Virginia. The people there were fantastic. He was then in the church there, I believe. I didn't know what I was getting into from the aspect. He said, well, I've got an apartment. That's where you're going to stay. You're going to be staying with me at this apartment. A lot of things he didn't tell me about this apartment. It had animals in it. And Patty and myself and Jeff, and I don't know if it was her maid of honor, who the young lady was that was with us, but we went there for some reason. And the first thing I know, something comes attacking me from the roof. And next thing you know, we're all running. We ran upstairs. Finally figured out it was a bat. Now, at this point, Patty and her girlfriend were in one room. I was in the bathroom, and Jeff was somewhere screaming. Jeff, you might want to get up. You might want to show. Now, Jeff said, what bats do is they attack your hair. That's what they go for. So we've got to run downstairs to the kitchen, and we got to get pans, and then we got to find something to hit this bat with and kill it. So we found brooms, we found the helmet, we found the pans we can put over our heads, so those bats didn't get in our hair and attack our hair. I don't know how many lamps was it that you got?
At least one.
No, there was one lamp, but he said no big deal. It was a gift from his parents. No big deal.
Mother-in-law.
Anyway, I didn't know if you might want to take a few swings if you were still capable or not. We finally, after we knocked over one curtain, the bat kind of got entangled in that and got on the floor. Now, Jeff, let me have that broom for a minute. This is what Jeff did. I'm like, Jeff, it's dead. Oh, no, we got to make sure. And I don't even remember what she used to pick it up and put it in the trash can. But it was never a dull moment being with Jeff. And I'm going to go with one more story because it's something I had just thought about and I'm a little worried about. Because I think he still owes me this. Jeff and I went fishing. We went out in the river. Now it's the Indian River. I don't know how many people know too much. It's like a lagoon, and it's not. There's a lot of deep spots, but when we went wade, it wasn't too big a deal. Well, Jeff got attacked by a sea monster out there. He was walking, all of a sudden, and he's got my pole. And he's like this. He said, "It's a shark or something." Now I couldn't find anything, but he snapped my pole and broke it. We were doing that. And you know something? I don't remember if you ever replaced that pole. And I just started to think about that. Jeff, it's really good seeing you.
Okay.